We see the climate actually already is starting to change. There has been significant warming that's taken place in the last 30 years. And given the current commitments that countries have made to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, unfortunately, those have not been sufficiently ambitious. And we anticipate climate actually changing quite a bit more over the coming decades. What this means, though, is that some of the recent weather events that we've seen in the past couple of years, from wildfires in Russia and Brazil, to the droughts in Australia, to the flooding in Pakistan, that these types of extreme events, if anything, are going to become even more frequent in the coming years. In addition to that, we will have increasing sea level rise, we will have greater variability in precipitation. All of these actually create significant problems for countries, for people. And how they adapt to these changes is precisely what this report is about.
How should governments adapt?
Well, we would argue that these issues are going to require us to create decision-making processes that are more proactive, that are able to predict when these changes might happen, or that are more reactive, that can respond when an unexpected event happens, or that are more flexible, that can take into account that in some times you might have a lot more rain than you expect, other times the same place may have a lot less rain. How do you create policies, or how do you make decisions that can take into account that huge amount of uncertainty? And so what this report tries to do is try to help governments, give them guidance on how to create decisions, policies, plans, investments that could respond to this increasing uncertainty in the weather.
What are the most crucial thing for governments to do?
I think governments need to recognize that climate change, that adapting to climate change will require changes in how they take decisions. And there's a few things that they could do that would make a really big difference. One is around information, making sure that they collect the right information, they disseminate that information to people that are likely to be affected by climate change. A second thing is around public engagement. These are very difficult challenges, very difficult trade-offs that need to be met. If they can actually more actively engage the public in how these decisions are taken, they're more likely to get better decisions and more legitimate decisions being taken.
You advocate a low-carbon economy. How close to that transition are we now?
We're starting on the path to that transition. We have a long way to go. If one looks at the science, we need to actually reduce greenhouse gas emissions around the world by 80 to 95% in the next 40 years. That is a fundamental transformation of the economy. We're just starting down that path. I think we're seeing a lot of progress in some countries. The EU, Germany, one example. China is actually taking some significant steps to move down the low carbon path. But there's also a lot of countries that are not doing nearly enough, including the United States. So it's early, starting to make some small progress, but I would argue that the opportunity, the upside of the transition far outweighs the potential costs.